Hello everyone and welcome back to another Unity kind of thing. It's more of a tutorial this time, which is out of my normal things to do. And today we'll be doing a terrain kind of world design tutorial. We'll start out with the terrain under 3D objects, as you probably just saw. Rewind if you cannot see it. Let me just move this over. And this is a default Unity terrain. No terrain add-ons or anything. And pretty simple. Checkerboard pattern. Flat, nothing to it. Kind of bland. And the first tool we will be looking at is the terrains. Like, you can add another terrain to it. Just click and add another terrain to any one. So pretty nifty if you need more room on one. And later I'll show you how to edit the scale of the original. The other tool, which I'll Control Z all these. If you didn't already know, that's undo. The other tool is the paint tool. First you can raise and lower the terrain. Move it higher. Yeah, you can just do that. It's not the best with this high, like really high opacity. This allows you to mark how much you want to do it. Scale, size of which it'll do. Like really small. Really high opacity, really small. And let me just move on the stuff. There are these little things over here for you can change your brush type, what it looks like, get more jagged things. Get my opacity up a bit. You can do this. It works with any texture. You can add a new one by importing another thing into the actual scene and then new brush, and then it should be pretty straightforward from there. Next tool is the tree tool, but should be pretty self-explanatory. You add a tree. I don't have a model for it, I don't think. Let me just make a cube real quick. Best testing thing possible. And if you don't already know, you just do this, and it is now a prefab. So it has to be a prefab in order to make a tree. I'll just add a tree, this, cube. Add. Pretty simple. Now I can just add a bunch of cubes. Kind of render how you would normally want a tree to render. This is a lot of trees. You can edit the density, the size of which, the heights and all that stuff. I'll make it really random. Just hit like very small amounts. You can just add one if you want. It's a really small brush. Next tool is details, which they don't work in HDRP, which is the current render pipeline I am in. And if you don't already know, HDRP stands for High Definition Render Pipeline, and it's what it sounds like. It's pretty good graphic quality. For next, we'll go into terrain settings. Grouping ID, it's just an ID to group them all. It's all sorts of things, error, the shadows two-sided, blend probes, clicked off of it. Here is the material this uses. Now Unity creates one by default for you, so you don't have to worry about that. I have all these things for trees, draws, the density, distance, all that stuff. Wind and stuff, that's a whole thing. To advanced here is, I can edit size. Let's make this 2000. It's bigger now. It's simple size, you can just edit it however you like, and all that stuff. Your resolution, now that's, yeah, it's all the resolution and stuff. Holes, which is how you make like caves and stuff. You can just put a hole in the terrain and it won't render. That's the whole thing in high definition. And enable that settings. Height maps, base resolutions, and all this stuff for textures on here, which I will show you in a second. Lighting, change global illumination. I guess. Light maps, and that's for baking, how big it is in light maps. Now see, it has reached its max size, so that indicates that it is too big, so you would just lower the size just a bit. That should be about good. The resolution that for the light map, very low resolution is normally what you would have. Here's a collider. Now back to this. A really special little bean. It has the main holes, which allows me to remove some of this. That's how you do the holes. They're just a remove thing, it removes part of the collider and all that. Caves and stuff. You have to make a model for it though. Next thing is the paint texture. I'll have to import the texture in a minute. But you can just paint on a texture any way you like. Set height. You can basically just move back to this. You can just set the one height of anything. Just set it to that height. It's really janky though. Smooth height, you can just smooth it out some parts of this. Just remove some of the really jagged edges. It'll remove straight line, like straight up verticality. Stamp terrain. This is like thing. Stamp height. Let's see. See how this is just flattening out a little bit. Resolution's not too high. And that's it with all that terrain settings. Another neat little trick I would like to show you. Come back over here. When you're raising and lowering this, if you were to use a jagged thing, use a really low opacity, like 0.1, give it a fairly decent size. And then if you were to just go around and use this for a while, then it would make a lot higher resolution mountain, because it gives it some jaggedness. I don't know where I actually have all that texture. Come down a bit. It would just give it a lot more jaggedness. Like I said, it should look a little bit rougher and all that, because that's how mountains would look from all the erosion and stuff. The more you do it, the higher and I guess more detail goes into it. For water, if you didn't already know how you would do this, you would just make a plane, which would be standard, I guess. Water. You would just make this a plane, and then make it. Let me reset this transform. Scale of a large number. So that's all I know to do. And it's just raise this up. One plane, you have water. There's no material yet, which just create a material. If you don't already know how these materials work, this is a simple lit material for HDRP. You can just change the color here, clicking on it. You can also click here and add texture map. Metallicness, just edits how metallic it is. Smoothness, that's pretty self-explanatory. It's how smooth it is. And all these other maps and stuff it uses. You can add emission, which is pretty useful if you want to have something that's glowing. And also, down here, you can edit the alpha. Make it a transparent. Then I can just drag this onto there. It's not really good water. It's not at all good water. That's a whole other thing to add, good water. That's for another day, perhaps. So it's a water plane, and just kind of goes between that terrain. Pretty good water. And that's how you do water and all that stuff. I think this is the end of this video though. Just a simple Unity terrain thing. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.